All right. Welcome to Clozer Cult Podcast. I'm your host, Alma Merrill. Today, I have one of my homies in here, man. Michael Burns. What's up, Michael Burns?
What's up, dog? How are you doing? I like that intro. The music is no joke.
Yeah, you like that?
I do.
Yeah. I'd like to say I could pick it, but it kind of picked me. So thanks for being here, man. I'd like to say thank you to our live studio audience. What's up, man? How you doing?
Dude, I'm digging the full production over here, bro.
Yeah, you liking that?
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, Michael is a dear friend of mine. I kind of have watched him go from, dude, fresh, right? Fresh in the business to freaking absolute all-out baller.
It's funny you say that, dude, because when I was driving down here, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about when I first started at C21, and I'd be going to morning ascent meetings and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And, like, you were a dude that was, like, in my eyes, balling, dude. I had all these, all these listings and shit, and, you know, like one of the top dogs in the office, and it was just, it's kind of been fun to watch, you know, us become homies the way that we have, but also to, you know, just how much we've both grown. But
Yeah.
I remember, you know, you were, like, kingpin listing back in the day.
Well, it's an interesting market now. So I mean, nobody's kingpin listings right now because the market's just so weird and it shifted so weird. But you know, getting back to that concept of just kingpin, it's like the level, the playing field has been leveled with the change in the marketplace. You know, people have stopped, you know, buying on the levels that they did. You know, interest rates have increased. People are kind of going, okay, now I got to refine my business. So. I mean, are you seeing that in your business?
Oh, yeah, dude, absolutely. It just, like, turned off.
Yeah.
Literally just like that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a weeding out across the board, not only realtors, investors, lenders, I mean, anyone who's involved, really, because it's just been so easy the last several years.
Right. Yep. Well, and just getting back a little bit before we get really into the talk of that stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about, I want to talk a little bit more about your journey. Cause when I first met you, you were fresh on somebody else's team, like fresh in the industry. You know, you had just kind of started learning the biz. And I saw you come in and I was like, another whippersnapper coming in here. He's going to be out in like 3 months, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect from you. And then you started producing, dude. You started like doing shit and producing. So like your growth has been really substantial over the year. Because how many years have you been in business right now?
So I did my first deal in 2012.
Okay, cool.
And, you know, started, like, I've always been more leaning on the investing side for sure.
Right.
You know,
that's kind of been your passion, right?
Yeah.
The investment side.
Yeah, but you met me when I joined Chris Martindale's team at C21.
That's right,
Everest,
dude. Yeah, Martindale.
And that was probably 2014.
Now, Martindale's a stud, total baller, like got his stuff figured out. So this was a great team for you to get started on, right?
Yeah, 100%. Good environment, and that's one thing I talk about a lot. I guess we'll just mention it now. Is for me, anytime you're trying whatever it is you're wanting to do, you want to put yourself in the environment where you want to do what you want to be doing is actually happening.
Right.
And that's exactly why I joined his team, went to Century 21, #1 office in the state, and put myself in the environment where guys like you are hustling and doing deals.
Right. Yeah, environment, I mean, tell me a little bit more about environment. Like how important is environment for you, for your mental stamina, just the synergy of other people? How important is that?
Dude, environment's everything. It's a non-negotiable for me. I mean, because the environment sets the tone for literally everything that you're doing.
Right.
Not just business, but your life in general. Like we're a product of our environment. So if you understand I'm a product of the environment that I put myself in, well, then you need to take that shit serious and monitor it, and, you know, all the way down to, you know, who you're hanging out with, who you're learning from, what you're putting in, what you're consuming, all of it.
Right. And so if I'm a new agent, I don't want to go to broker. I don't want to go to a discount brokerage where I'm not getting an environment. I don't want to go to the village corner office. I want to be in an environment that is uplifting and inviting and has a lot of synergy, right?
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, like I said, when I was first getting in, decided, because I was doing some flips and learning about that, but I was like, I want to go be a real estate agent, retail real estate agent. I went to the #1 office in the state, right there, and I joined the team with a guy that was one of the top agents there, and put myself directly in the environment where stuff was happening daily.
That's freaking dope,
And
man.
it's like, if I want to be successful at something, well, what are people who are successful at that? What are they doing? And I
Right.
need to go be around that, and I need to see it. So I need an example, right? We all need an example of what something looks like, and then we
Right.
can emulate it.
Yeah, Tony Robbins calls it modeling.
Yeah.
You're going to look at somebody, you're just going to simply model their behaviors, right? You're
Yep.
just going to, you know, if it's a matter of what they dress, how they talk, what they wear, you can be basically who they are in your own way and model what they do to get what they have. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and I think one thing that you'll learn when you're studying successful people and in that environment is predictable processes produce predictable results.
Like what?
Cold calling, for example.
Okay.
Like, you know, so for example, if you're watching people who are successful, they're going to be doing something consistently. They're going to have a process that they're consistently doing,
Right.
and that's producing consistent results. So, for example, when I went to C21, their whole thing was Mike Ferry and FISBOs and expireds. So consistently every morning going to morning ascent meeting, sales meeting, some hoorah, some gratitude, writing goals down.
Right.
Then 8 a.m. hits and we're all on the phones. And you're calling for 2.5 hours every day.
So the hoorah and stuff, that's like mental stamina, right? That's getting your brain straight, right?
Yeah, getting your brain straight, getting in touch with your ambition, and getting excited about what it is you're trying to do, and really getting clear on, like, this is what I'm doing and why I'm here.
Yeah, because if you're driven like you are, like you're a highly driven dude. Like that's one of the things that I knew why I wanted you on my freaking podcast, dude. Because everybody that I feel like I've been inviting to be a part of this has done something amazing. I want that to be consistent on this podcast. And so looking at like the real estate business you've built, how you kind of learn from the right mentors, your path to success was pretty I mean, if you were to draw it out, like how to do it, you did it that way and you didn't slow down. You haven't slowed down, which is fucking amazing to me because you've created this incredible real estate company. You've created this incredible lending business. You know, you have a lot of toys, tons of investment properties, the, you know, new Ferrari. I mean, things that you have been really kicking ass on. Right. And so let's talk a little bit about that growth. It wasn't easy, right?
Oh, dude, no. Like, no, man, you're talking about the Instagram highlight reel. But, you know, you'll always hear like, oh, yeah, that guy's a 20-year overnight success. I haven't been in business 20 years, but it's like my logo is the iceberg. And the reason that I love that so much and what I've connected with it so much is like no one sees the shit below the waterline, bro. And that's literally everything that's happening behind the scenes. And then when you peek through the water, the top of the water, and you can actually see this cool looking thing on top. It's all about all the shit. You know, no one knows those Saturdays that you're doing cold calls. No one knows the late nights and all of the shit, dude. The stressing about deals going wrong or how am I going to get money for this or that or whatever the thing is. Like when you're doing it and it's you with you, like you're the only one that knows that.
So I was thinking about that the other night, and we were over at your office, and then Aaron, what's his name? Aaron Wagner pulls up.
Yeah, Wags pulled through.
And so for those of you who don't know Aaron Wagner, started in real estate, got into investments. He's total baller. So he rolls up. It's late night. You know, it's getting dark. He rolls up in his freaking Rolls Royce Phantom, you know, Spirit of Ecstasy flying on the front grill. It's freaking dope. And I watch him go in and he freaking starts making calls. I saw him making calls in there and I'm like, dude, he's still doing it. Right? Even when you have all of this success like he has and all this stuff, he's still just like you were in there late at night, burning, making it happen, realized, okay, I have to get certain goals. Probably that's what it looked like. And he was on the phones. He was in a cubicle on the phones. And I'm like, dude, he's still making it happen. How important is that consistency and how important has it been for you and your business to continue to grow and hit those lofty goals that you've had?
Well, the reason I do that or you do that or guys like Wags do that is because that's the very thing that got them where they are.
Right.
So like you're not going to bail on the very thing that got you where you are, you know what I mean? So everything that I talk about is lifestyle, right? So it's everyone wants to talk about balance and I say fuck that. There's not balance.
There's no such thing. Yeah.
No, there's priorities. You have priorities and if something's a priority, then you keep it a priority. Period. It doesn't matter. Like if it's a priority, then you get it done. So when you're sitting here seeing successful guys, it's because they've been showing up and being consistent for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years and eating shit all along the way.
Well, what about the fucking people who get online and they're like, "Oh, cold calling's dead." And I'm like,
bro, I'd say, hey, how many appointments did you set this week?
Right.
From cold calling.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing
know?
is you can set 20, 30, 40 appointments in a week from cold calling. How is that dead? And what's so funny is that everybody's trying to step outside of that, or like trying to create an easier way for the hard work, but yet you still do it every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. And you've got, I think there's two parts of it. You know, you've got like your basics, just always the basics and the fundamentals, which you have to execute on the fundamentals at a high level all the time.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the more, niche or specific or advanced shit. But you'll hear Tim Grover talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan started every practice with a chest pass, bro. Every fucking practice,
Wow.
every day, his entire career, drill one, chest pass.
Wow.
That's as basic and fundamental as it gets.
The bare basics every time.
Like sales skills is it's a fundamental, and cold calling, it like you, dude. You're a master on the phones, but if you were to take off 2 weeks from cold calling, you'd come back a little
rusty.
Yeah,
it's true.
But you've been doing this shit for 20 years, but just 2 weeks off, you're not gonna be as on it, right?
Right. Yeah, and it's funny if you watch my when I took my Hawaii vacation this year, and then I came back and got on the phones. Like my first 2 or 3 calls, I was just like, dude, I'm bombing this right now. This is terrible,
Yeah, but I think it's getting back in, because it's a muscle for you at this point, right? I think it's just getting back warmed up and into that muscle, just like if a car sat or whatever.
Right. Or if your body's set, you hadn't worked out for a few days.
Yeah. But one thing that, you know who Bradley is?
Who?
Bradley.
Bradley.
He owns Lightspeed VT. He's got the Drop Your Bombs podcast.
Yeah,
I've seen
familiar.
him speak a lot. And he says training isn't something that you did. Training is something that you do. So like, just because you did make cold calls and now you're successful doesn't mean you don't still do it, or just because whatever it is. So it's like, it's not something that you did. This is something that you do.
So it's not like, oh, back when I was being trained or back when I was in training. I'm still in training.
Yeah, and I'm still doing the work every day, because if I quit doing it, then how am I going to stay where I'm at, let alone keep growing?
Ah, dude, that makes perfect sense. So let me ask you this. When do you ever phase out of it, or is it just something you have to keep flexing?
Well, dude, I think that there's different levels of things. So like for me, the more that I've grown and advanced in my business, and now that I've really learned to understand leveraging people and hours and really stepping into a leadership role, I think as you grow and as you expand, naturally you're going to start delegating, and you want to keep focused on like, what's your superpower? What are you best at?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of stuff that you just don't do as you progress, like,
yeah, because I'm really shitty at like numbers and paperwork and all that stuff, but I'm really good on the phones talking to people and face to face.
And I think as you progress, because when you first start, you got to do it all, dude.
You got to be a chameleon, right?
Yeah, you got to do the sales call. You got to go put your fucking sign in the lockbox in the yard, and you got to print your flyer and get the flyer on there, take all the calls, do the contract. So when you first start, you're doing everything, but that's because number one, you're probably bootstrapping it.
Right.
Plus you got to learn all this stuff before you can actually teach someone else how to do it.
Right.
But then as you continue in business and you continue in life and you're growing and you're getting better, you're going to start identifying, what am I good at? What are my skills? And what do I like to do? What do I not like to do?
Right.
And then you're going to want to get better at those. And those are going to become your producing and your money making activities. And those are going to be the things that you're strongest and best at. So that's what you should spend your time doing.
And I always respect people that kind of go back to their roots. Like if the market changes or something shifts or they lose something in their business or they take a hit, right? They're never above going back to the basic stuff. Like they're never above carrying a sign and a lockbox in their trunk. They're never above certain things, if they have to take their own photos or wherever their business drops to, or, because I've seen people and I've experienced in my business where doing really good, having a killer life, and then you just hit this like divorce, or you have this tragic event that happens in your life and just knocks you down a few notches. I think it's important to never feel like, oh, I'm above stomping my own signs into the ground. That's for the sign guy. Dude, if you got to do it, you got to do it, right?
Bro, whatever it takes. Like if you walk into my office, you saw it. We have whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Grant Cardone, I'll give him credit for that. But No, dude, 100%.
You also have "Don't Be a Little Bitch" on
No,
your wall by
and
Grant Cardone.
I do, and that's the one that's in my personal office. But yeah, dude, like, don't be a little bitch. Do whatever it takes. Like, either you're gonna fucking you're in or you're out.
Right.
You know, like it's either, like I said, priorities are priorities. So you're gonna do whatever you have to do. You know, and I think in harder times, you mentioned like you stumble across something in life, a divorce situation or whatever it is, like, dude, when it's good, it's good. I literally posted this on Instagram today. I'm not going to read it because it was long, but essentially it said, who gives a fuck what you do when times are good and it's all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns? Yeah, it's easy to say, oh, look at me, I'm making money. Look at me, I got my shit together. Oh, look at over here, we're winning.
Right.
But what happens when you're not winning and you're getting kicked in the dick and like you know, like shit's just
You've
not
experienced
going
a
well?
little bit of that lately, haven't you?
Dude, I've experienced a little bit of that my whole life, the whole way, but it's like, it's during those times that you find out who you easy to, like I said, when you're winning, it's easy to sit there and, you know, want to roll your flag around and stuff, but it's not always that way. So when times are hard, like that's where you got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to like, you know, like that inner scrappiness. You know, I have that in me, dude. It's never going away. Like I'm never not fucking getting up until the day I die, period.
Right.
That's just the way it is. So, that's when you find out who you're made of, though. But yeah, you mentioned like going through stuff. Like I remember my second flip, dude. We lost 50 G's on my second flip.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Holy
man.
hell, dude! I had no idea. That's crazy.
So
I just thought you won all the time. I didn't know you ever had any L's.
Dude, I think it's important to talk about the L's. If you follow me on social, I try to do that. But when we were first flipping houses,
What is your social, by the way, real quick?
It's at Michael.Burns with a Z, BURNZ.
Okay, so at Michael.BURNZ.
Yeah, that's me on Instagram.
At Instagram. Okay, cool. So when you got your
appreciate
your first flip, what was it?
Well, just I'll talk about
Or that
the
first
process
loss.
of it because, you know, you got to want, like, I think a lot of people see these highlight reels and a lot of people think, oh, yeah, I want to be successful. Like, oh, I'd like to have a Ferrari. I'd like to wear a Rolex. I want to be successful. I'd like to be a real estate agent or this. But it's like you liking to do something and then wanting to do something and then I'm going to fucking do that is three totally different things. So I think a lot of people like the idea of something and they like how it sounds. Oh, yeah. But then when you look at the price that has to be paid, which is called work, you don't want to pay the price.
And is that, I mean, you're a freaking master in your craft right now, I would say, because you teach a lot of people and you speak in a lot of places. You do a ton of podcasts, stuff like that. Is it still, do you still get scared sometimes? Do you still feel the fear of what the work will take to do it?
Yeah, dude, I'm scared right now. Right now. Right now, dude. On whatever today is, Monday, October 3rd, 2022. I'm fucking scared. And you know what I'm doing because I'm scared? I'm working. And I'm getting my shit together and I'm buckling down the hatches. And why am I scared? Because I got a lot of inventory on investment properties right now with a market that's sliding fucking hard.
And you told me those numbers, dude. I was kind of a little bit blown away about
dude.
the amount of inventory you have.
Yeah, man. So I'm scared right now, and that's why I'm talking about, you know, when it's easy, like all these investors been making money, all these agents, everyone wants to brag about it and this and that. It's like, cool, dude. I've been around for 10 years now. Not that I've seen a full market, but I lost 50 G's on my second deal, and I'm still fucking here. I had flips number 3, 4, and 5, 4 deals that first year that we held all winter long. And I had to renegotiate with 4 different hard money lenders on 4 different deals every single month because they were 6-month loans and we were past 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So I'm carrying properties, dude. We're not having maybe a showing a week. Like I have list prices that are guaranteeing if I sell it at list price, I'm still losing
So
money.
how many properties you carrying right now?
Hold on though. I want to tell
Okay.
So I'm doing all this stuff and we end up getting through it and losing money and all this stuff. But because I've been through that situation before, you move forward, you grow from that and your capacity expands and you become so much more like, so you're ready for the next level. So because I've been through these losses and I've lost 50 grand, 40 grand, 40 grand, 80 grand, 60 grand, I've taken big losses. I know it's going to be okay as long as I keep moving forward. So now when we're today and I'm fearful and we're sitting on like, I think right now we've got 13 flips that we're holding.
Wow. Holy hell.
Finally sold a couple. We had like 18 at one point.
Wow.
So you have a market correction happening and I'm sitting on this kind of inventory and we're getting one showing across 8 properties all weekend and interest rates are up and prices are coming down. It's like, okay, like this is when I find out what I'm made of. If I'm going to say, yeah, I'm a real estate investor, Am I a real estate investor in the good times, or am I like a real estate investor? I'm a seasoned one. I'm a legit one. That means you got to get through the hard times too.
Right.
And so that's, back to what we were kind of talking about. It's like in these times is when you find out who you are. In a down market, and you get on the phone and you find out like, oh, I'm a salesman. I'm really good on the phones. Like, you just got to grind it out.
Right.
And that's why when you circle back to why Wags is making phone calls in his office, or why I'm still doing what I'm doing, or you're doing what you're doing, because that's literally the only thing that's kept it moving the whole time. So that's the one thing that you can't bail on, is doing the work.
Yeah. And I love what you said earlier, that you can't abandon the thing that got you there.
No.
Like that was a huge epiphany for me. So thanks for coming. Show's over. No, I'm just kidding. Huge epiphany for me, dude, because it's like, dude, it's true, man. Because you get to a point where you're like, wait a second, I want to adjust my business to where I don't have to do this stuff anymore. And I'm always trying to find like reasons and ways not to do certain things that I don't like to do. But in reality, some of that stuff is what got me where I'm at. And whether or not I like to do it, you still got to do it, man. You still got to use the craft, right?
Well, bro, if you, I invest a lot of money in mentors and masterminds and events and coaching and just learning from guys that are far more down the road than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter who you are. They will all talk to you, especially talking to the guy that's just comfortable. You're not quite worrying about money anymore. You're in a comfortable spot. That's called complacency. And complacency is a more dangerous place to be than being fucking broke is, because now you've had a taste of like life being decent.
Damn,
but if you get
dude.
complacent and you don't keep doing what you're going to do, you're going to slide back real quick. So now not only are you broke again, but you had a taste of not being broke, and now you're back fucking broke. And the one thing that did that to you was getting complacent and not staying consistent on the things that got you where you were.
Will you coach me?
We could talk about it. But no, and everything that I just said, it sounds good, and it's not my material. It's just what I've learned through my mentors and stuff that I learned, and then my experience, and just kind of regurgitated as
right. That's the thing I've learned, is that all this type of stuff I've learned, but to be reminded is what's so critical.
Yeah.
To be reminded of that stuff. It's like, okay, it's because what is learning is just remembering, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you just okay. This is nothing I've ever not heard before, but. My the mentor's job is to lead the hero back to himself, right? That's what the mentor's job is. And so when you have great mentors and coaches and things like that, which if you don't have, guys, it's important to get together, get a coach, get a mentor to guide you. And that's somebody who reminds you who you are and leads you back to yourself, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, 100%. And I think always staying loyal to the potential that's there, because we're always trying to grow. And
you mentioned capacity too. You always have this capacity to grow bigger once you've already experienced some of that crazy shit in your business. Tell me how that's how has your growth happened mentally for you? Like, because you've grown a ton and you've expanded drastically over the last 5-7 years, So,
well, I pretty much feel like I'm always living life to where I'm pushing the boundaries and the limits, especially my mental and emotional capacities. Like, you're fucking stressed out, right? You got a lot going on.
Right.
But as you are always kind of operating at the ceiling of your capacity, and you're continuing to grow and stuff, and you have a situation happen, and then, like I'm saying, you get through that situation. For me, if you're operating at like right now in my life, I'm fucking tapped out and maxed out a while ago, dude. I'm going through a gnarly divorce. I've got a market that's shifting hard. Like, I'm mentally and emotionally beyond capacity like months ago.
Okay.
But I'm still here.
Right.
What's going to happen is, as I sort through these life situations, and as we figure out what we're doing with this inventory and just everything going on in business, like, everything's going to be fine. Everything always sells. That's one thing I know based on experience. But once I get on the other side of the adversity that I'm in right now in business, and then also on the personal stuff too, and I get to the other side of that, and I do a pulse check, and I realize I'm still alive, well, now I have broken through a whole nother level of stuff, and I'm on
capacity,
the other,
right?
I'm on the other side of that now. So my capacity has now expanded because I broke through that level and that barrier. So my capacity now moving forward after a hard market transition and everything we're dealing with right now, and whatever that process looks like, and I get on the other side, and then I get on the other side of like a super intense divorce situation, and you survive that, your confidence is going to grow, and now you're going to have experienced a heavy amount of stress and pressure and everything. So when that happens again, you've been here before. So now it's not new and you're going to have more room around it.
What
You're going to continue to increase
after
your capacity.
kind of describing those changes and increasing your capacity and all that stuff, and you've just described kind of where you're at right now.
Uh-huh.
Share with me, what do you do on the daily, like to get your mind right? What do you do in the morning? What do you do on the day? I know you do a lot of meditations and shit up in the canyon. I've seen you on YouTube. I've driven past you, I've gone up and you're coming down. So what do you do to get your mind right so you can handle that heavy shit when it happens?
Well, dude, and this literally all circles back to what we were first talking about with environment. Your environment's everything.
Okay.
So like the environment, like you're saying, like you're in a high stress situation. What environment do I put myself into while I go to the river and I journal and I meditate? Or what environment do you put yourself in? And I call my homie Alma, who's more experienced than me in life and business. We talked about my divorce situation. We've talked about the market.
Right.
I'm going to you, and that's part of my environment is who am I hanging around? Where am I physically at? What am I putting in? So I'm reading. So to go back to what I'm doing daily is I'm monitoring my environment. Like the people in my life, especially the close ones, they're either liabilities or assets.
Why not just sit on your freaking couch, bro, and just sulk?
Because I'll tell you why. Because number one, I'm not a little bitch, and secondly, this is literally what I say to myself, dude. Like no joke. When I'm like the hardest of times, crying, man, just crying and just like, oh my god, everything sucks. I'm not gonna be okay. Like fuck, just.
And that's a critical aspect, right? Letting it out emotionally if you have to.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But just the point that I'm making, just being in total duress, right? And this is what I tell myself every single time in those moments. I say, I'm not a bitch and I'm not a quitter. I'm not a bitch and I'm not a quitter. I'm not a bitch and I'm not a quitter. And I'll say it 100 times if I have to. But at the end of the day, Michael Burns is not a bitch and he's not a fucking quitter. And I'm going to keep going. Period. That's who I am. So like, that's what I do in the hard moments.
Love it.
But what I do daily is I'm really monitoring my environment and I'm monitoring who am I spending time around, what environment am I in. I'm making sure I'm getting movement. I'm going to the gym. I'm feeling good. I'm also eating really good on a meal plan. So I try to read. If I don't read, I listen to podcasts. If I'm not doing that, and I have music going, it's a music that's energetically like good for my state and keeping me in a high state.
Right.
So literally everything that I'm doing daily is monitoring my environment, whether it's where I'm at physically, where I'm at mentally, emotionally, what I'm hearing, the energy. And then I'm just staying focused and executing on like the top 5 things that are the most important to get done that day.
Best books you think to read or Audible or whatever for you on like the mental?
Relentless, specifically Mental Relentless by Tim Grover is a phenomenal book.
Okay.
I love all of Grant Cardone's stuff. Ed Milet's new book, The Power of One More, is really good. Think and Grow Rich is a staple. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a staple. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude is a staple.
Dude, I love it.
And you gotta have the mindset.
And then what about books? What about events? You attend a lot of events every year. I mean, you probably put 6 figures into your self production or yourself
annually.
Yeah, growing yourself annually, right? So
well, dude, like there's if I take the amount of time, I don't want to make it just about money because I understand everyone might be in a situation where you're barely reading books. So it's not about money, but it's the more that I invest in myself, time and money, I can directly track the better my life is, the better my relationships are, the better my social circle is, the more money that I'm making. So the more money and time, the more investment, because it's not just about money, the more I'm investing in myself, the better the return that I'm getting.
See, and that's where a lot of people they disconnect from it, right? But really, when you're investing in yourself, you're making more money, right?
Dude, it's crazy. People will think like, cause we do mortgages and we'll be working with someone that has $60,000, $70,000 in student loan debt and they make like 35, 40 grand a year. And that same person would probably struggle to go spend $1,500 on a weekend seminar, self-help, development, whatever.
Right.
That's going to actually teach them something. So we have like society is just bred to have this idea. Like we literally people think nothing about dropping 100 G's on a college degree, but you won't go spend $2,500 on a self-help whatever book, seminar, whatever it is. I
That,
don't have
that
a
could
college.
literally change your life, change your brain, everything.
I don't have a college degree, dude. I went to junior college for 1 semester. It wasn't for me, and I guarantee you, I make way more money than the average 4-year degree or probably even master's degree.
Right.
And my education is self development, so that's my personal experience with it.
I've always seen degrees as being it's a limit. You get a degree, it's a prescription for your income. Whereas if you're
that's a prescription for your income. It is, bro. I love that. It is, because if you're going in to be an accountant, you know what the salary range is. If you want to be an IT tech, whatever, you know what the salary range is. So I've never heard it put that way, but it is a prescription for your income. And what's crazy is the money that people are willing to pay to get the prescription that doesn't pay anything out. Like what's the return? Like, look at the return. And I'm not anti-school by any means, but look at the return of going and spending 4 to 8 years of your life going to school, plus the money involved, versus like if you were to go get real life experience and like do self-development. I guarantee you, if you were to put 2 people and run them 4, 6, and 8 years, the person that's doing their own thing, learning by actually doing, and self-development will outpace the other person every time, I would guarantee you.
So you're saying school is good, but an education's even better.
Well, school is good, and I think I would love to see trade schools come around. I think college is just turned into
for sure. Dude.
College is just a liberal breeding camp, and it's also just helps the system. Like it's a business. It's big business. Like the first 2 years in college, you're going over the same shit you just did in high school. Why do you need that?
Right.
Why not just go into the thing that you're getting? Let's go get real life training. Let's go get the first 2-3 years. Doesn't even matter. It's just a redo of what you just did.
Right.
So I like the idea of trade schools. I think it's super important that you have training at whatever it is you're doing. And, so obviously,
whether
doctors,
that's
lawyers,
real estate investment,
people,
all that, doctors, lawyers, mechanic, whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah, I'm not down on school at all. I love education. I just have a different approach to education. I think it's critical, and it's going to make or break you. But it's just interesting to me that people have this idea of, I got to go to college, and they don't even know what they're going for, but they're going to go anyways, and they're racking up debt and wasting time in life at the same time. It's just kind of fascinating. Right.
Because what I learned is, and my story a little bit. I didn't go to school at all. I couldn't read till I was 12. I couldn't spell till I was 21.
Yeah.
I didn't. For me, school wasn't an option with how I grew up, but I knew that education could be. I could be educated no matter what I was doing, but I couldn't do some things because I didn't have a degree, or I didn't go to high school, or I didn't go to college, or I didn't go. So there were certain things I knew I couldn't do. Fortunately, none of those things I actually wanted to do. And so the opportunity for me in real estate was huge. I could go get my high school equivalent. Then I could go get into real estate and basically start from zero, get a mentor, and actually then go get an education in what I was wanting to do, which is what I had to do.
Let me ask you this. Number one, how much did it cost? And number two, how long did it take you to be up and running?
Let's see. It cost me about $2,500.
Okay.
I was up and jamming in real estate within like 40 days, 50 days.
Yeah, dude.
And that first year I made $100,000.
So $2,500 in 45 days produced $100,000. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of hustle and work and
totally,
and you got to be built for that, or at least build yourself to be capable of doing that.
Right.
But just think about that, dude, versus 4, 6, 8 years and
10 years, almost,
$50,000 to $150,000. It's just interesting to see, but it comes back to you're a product of your environment and what's your drive. Like, are you clear with who you are and what you want to do? Like, are you ready to put effort into life, or do you just want to fuck around and just have a good time and live a boring life?
I feel like I was pretty naive. Like when I came into it,
I think you have to be, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think it was actually a really positive thing because I was naive to what I couldn't do, because nobody sat there and told me, dude, you can't do this unless you have a degree. You can't do this unless you've done that. And so I was pretty naive, which helped me. And then I just I was like, is this what you got to do to go? Okay, I'll go do that. And then I was super excited that, in a down market that sucked, because I started in like 2004 or something, 2003, 2004, or whatever. And it's like when the market just frickin' tanked. And I made $100,000 my first year, and I'm like, okay, now what's it going to do for me in an up market, Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So what advice would you give if I'm some freaking kid, just got out of high school, Would you say, hey, dude, go to college, get a degree, do this, do that? Or would you say, hey, just find what you want to do and go get educated on it?
I would say be productive of the time that's in front of you, and the how you spend that time needs to really be intentional and thought out. Like, okay, you're gonna go to college, but why? What are you going for? Like, get some clarity. I think getting clarity is more important and then actually being productive with your time. So I don't know. For that person, it might make sense for them to just get a job, dude,
Uh-huh.
and get life experience in living on your own and getting a job and getting an apartment, and in the meantime trying to figure out what you want to do
Right.
before you go sign up for 4 years of some shit that you don't even know what you want to do. So I think clarity
Yeah,
is
because how
more.
many people do we know that go to college and they're like, I don't really know what I want to
Yeah,
do?
or you change degrees 3 and 4 times over. So I think most, and to think that you're 18, 19 years old and you're going to make a decision that's going to tee you up for the rest of your life is crazy too, because you don't even know who you are at 18 years old, let alone what the fuck you're going to do the rest of your
So
life.
true,
And then you're
dude.
going to go sign up for an $80,000 degree of something that the 18-year-old thinks he wants to do. And it's likely the 40-year-old version of that person is not in alignment with that. So I think really getting clarity would be my first thing, and then not just going and doing something just for the sake of doing it. So that would be my answer.
Dude, I just feel like our society just they're in the wrong direction as far as some, a lot of that stuff. It's like, I mean, I look at my nephew, okay? Super smart kid, went, got his education, got his 4-year degree, doesn't use almost anything that he learned in college, has learned totally on the job, has risen the ranks, gone into six figures within like 3 years of his career, and then now he's getting offered a job where he's going to triple his income managing this company now.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, dude, what a great he went and got educated, right? He went and got freaking education, decided which direction he wanted to go, had a goal and a plan and a vision. Tell me about your vision. Like how have you constructed a lot of people do like dream boards and stuff like that. I do that. I do a yearly calendar I have up on my wall that lays out the entire year and every single thing I'm going to do that year in one glance. Tell me this, how do you lay out your vision or your mission or your purpose? What do you do for that?
It's changed a bunch, and it's changed dramatically like the last 18 months. So earlier it was all about money, dude. Everything was about money. But then you start hitting goals and you start getting, so the first goal is 100 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Then I hit 100 grand. And before I even hit 100 grand, I was already looking at 200 grand.
Right.
So then by the time you hit 100 and you hit your goal, you don't really care because you're already focused on the next one, which is 2 or 250. And then it was 3, and then it was 5, and then it was 750.
Right.
So for the longest time, everything, the reason I did self development, the reason I did mindset, the sales training, the environment, the journaling, the goals, all of the stuff that I was doing, it was all with the intent of I want to be successful. But the bottom line was that was based on money production. I needed money first. So then once I started getting money,
Because you got to have money to work, right? You got to have money to operate.
yeah, and when you've never had money, like you want money, right?
Right.
So anyone who has hustle and ambition like we do, we're doing it because we want the fucking money.
And
Like,
it's a worthy level. I mean, people, this is not something that's
I'll
bad.
put it to you
Money's not
this way.
bad, right?
My dad till this day jokes with me, and he's like, "Son, I'll never forget you called me." And this is like pretty much when I was telling my parents I was not doing school anymore. I lasted one semester at junior college, bro, in Bakersfield, California. Like,
Holy shit! You lived in Bakersfield? Oh wow.
So, anyways, I
The
called.
armpit, bro. The
Yeah,
armpit of
I know,
California.
dude, and that's why I got the fuck out of there. But I called my dad, and I said, and he'll be like, "Son, I'll never forget you called me." He said, "Your dad, you're like," or he said, "Dad, I want to make as much money as I can, as fast as I can, and I don't give a fuck what I do." That's what I told him, and
Uh-huh.
that was my mindset. I want to get money. I want to be
So
successful.
then you
and
went
have
dancing
money.
with Chip and Dale's. How did that work?
Didn't,
Right.
dude, I'm 5'6". I wasn't built back then. It wasn't my. I was on the C team, maybe. It just wasn't working out. But no, so everything was money driven for a long time. And I thought, I have to have the mindset to be successful to make money. I got to have the sales skills to be able to get commissions, and it was all about the money. So then, like 3 years ago, at that point, I was making good money at like doing the best I had, and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled the same. And then like self-development kind of was taking a little bit of a shift, and like I started getting into like energy a little more, and more the spiritual side.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stepped into the spiritual world, and I'm not talking religion and books and none of that shit. I'm talking like you with you and universe, God, whatever you want to call it, but the spiritual piece. I didn't have that, dude, my whole life. And that was that missing link. So once I was
So you grew up non-religious, non-spiritual.
Dude, never been to church with my parents unless it was a funeral.
Okay.
Zero religious influence, which is cool because I've got a blank canvas.
Right.
And then you've got places like Utah where they just ram it down your throat hard.
Right.
So
yep.
It's interesting to watch that when you're not from here. But anyways, like the point that I'm making is I had money and I had levels of success, especially for being younger. And there was still not the fulfillment there that I thought I would have. And I had cool relationships and stuff, but it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Like once you fly first class, it's like, okay. Once you are, going on vacations and stuff, it's awesome, dude. And I love it. But it was like, okay, like
I've done it.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't fulfilled. And then, so I started going down their spiritual journey. And so now it's shifted. I still want to be rich as fuck, dude. Like 100 million is what I want to be worth. And that's going to happen. It's going to take some time, but so I'm still heavily financially driven, but what I've learned is it's not really about the money. It's about, I just want to be good at what I want to do. And I want to see how far I can go. And I want to stay loyal to my potential, all while leading by example and non-wavering from my core values. Like my core values are not for sale ever, fucking period, no matter what. Like my core values are my guiding principles, and I want to stay loyal to my potential. And that's all it's about for me.
Tell me this.
Money is just, hold on, but money, like as you're becoming a better person and a better man and you're getting better at what you're doing and you're just growing across the board, money is going to be a natural byproduct of that. And
of who you become.
Yeah. So when I've learned and really started focusing on, it's not about the money. That's just one of many byproducts of who is it that I'm becoming. And now that I'm focused on like, who is Michael and what do I want? And like, what makes me feel good and what makes me fulfilled and how am I showing up as the best version of me? And I get in touch with that. And I get in touch of like living in alignment with everything and staying on purpose. Dude, the fucking money is flowing more than it ever has. And it's not even the focus.
Wow.
So that it's kind of shifted a bunch, and so like, yeah, I've got dream boards, the Ferraris out there, that was on my dream board. And like the Rolex watch that I'm wearing, this was on my dream board 7 years ago, dude. 7 years ago.
7 years.
And it took me 5 years of being able to afford it to actually allow myself to buy it.
Let me ask you this. When you look at those things, because a lot of people, they have, like you said, early on in your career, you had like your sights set on money. And then once you accomplish those things, like when you got the Rolex and had it on your wrist and walked out of that shop with the Rolex on your wrist, when you picked up the Ferrari and you drove it off the lot, what was it like for you inside to have done that?
Number one, I had to get over feeling guilty about it, even though the Ferrari took 6 months of mental tug of war. And okay, I'm going to do it. And then, no, I can't do it. That's ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. I'm doing that. When I bought the Rolex, dude, I set a goal. When I hit this goal, I'm going to buy my Rolex. Well, I hit the goal and I couldn't let myself do it. All right, well, next time I hit that same goal, I'm going to buy it. I hit the goal 4 fucking times.
Wow.
Which was $100,000 in a month. And this was a $10,000 watch. So I hit a goal 4 times to allow myself to spend 10% of the money that I made. So I'm really frugal, dude. Like I got nice stuff, but I'm very, very frugal with because when you come from, I come from middle-class family, but like, dude, I come from like, we had a small business. It was a lot of pressure. Like I know the value of $1 and I'm a very good steward of money. I'm extremely financial with it. And I'm just a frugal dude. So even though I hit this goal 4 times, and I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to buy the watch. I could buy this thing 10 times over literally, and it's fine. And it was kind of a similar thing with the Ferrari, maybe not 10 times over with the Ferrari, but it wasn't outside of my means. But for me, I have to go through this whole process of not feeling guilty about it, which is crazy.
Because of where you came from? Like,
yeah, dude. And it goes back to what we started with when you're talking about Wags is making calls and why are you grinding it till midnight at your fucking office, dude?
Right.
It's because I know what it took to get here. And it wasn't easy. So like, I'm not going to just go blow it and be reckless and irresponsible because I know what the fuck it's taken and it's been a lot. So it's like a respect thing, but I just have a hard time like blowing shit on myself. So
Right.
I go through this guilt process, right? So let's just like, we'll set that aside, but I think that's really important to mention. But then also, like when I have it and I look at it, there's the fuck yeah, it's a Rolex, dude. It's awesome. There's all this stuff that you would imagine materially, but then I think about like the journey it went through to get it,
Right.
and that's what means something important to me. Like that's what's significant. Or when I'm driving the Ferrari and stuff, like I said, dude, like I'm going through a lot of shit right now, and I'm driving that car, and like I'm looking at my watch, and it's also a reminder of who I had to become to get that thing. And it's like, if you're going to be driving a Ferrari and wearing this watch, then you better fucking act like a guy that drives a Ferrari and wears a Rolex. And again, that's continuing to show up. It's something that you do, not something that you did. Like, so all this stuff that we're talking about, it's all intertwined, man. It's like, it's a lifestyle and it's who you are.
Which is why you call your business lifestyle.
Yeah. But it's awesome, dude. I love it. Like I love having the nice things, and it's fun and it's material, but that's not where the value for me comes from. The value for me comes from like, wow, dude, look at the position that you've put yourself in to responsibly do and buy these things.
Right.
And that's winning, bro. And that's when like you're being fulfilled, not because you have some outside materialistic thing. You're being fulfilled because you're proud of who you are and who you had to become to produce that thing.
Dude, I love that perspective on it, because that aspect of it, I think, is so critical. A lot of people miss that aspect of it.
But dude,
right?
a couple things, like if you haven't experienced or had the thing, you can't have that perspective on it, because you just think, like, that's why I was saying I thought it was just about the money. But then when I started making a little bit of money, and then I started making pretty decent money, I realized, oh, nope, it's not just about the money. You know what I mean? So like,
right.
What I'm saying is, and this is where the spiritual piece comes in. If you're attaching your happiness and your self-worth and like your sense of inner joy and pride to outside material things, that's always going to end in you not being fulfilled.
So what do you attach it to?
I attach it to like what I just said. Like, you know, it's the process and the journey that produced that thing, you know?
Right.
But I think
because it's in the becoming, it's not in the having.
Yeah. And part of me for the whole lifestyle thing is experience is part of it. You know, we're here, we might as well do cool shit and experience nice things.
Right.
And I love that. But I'm just saying, if that's your driver, you're going to end up less fulfilled every single time. If it's only for the feeling of what some third party exterior material thing makes you feel like,
right?
That's a short-term high. It'd be the same thing as a heroin junkie slamming it. Yeah, it feels awesome. And then now you're withdrawing if you don't have it again. And it's going to be the same thing if your happiness is based on material shit. So have material shit because it's fucking cool and you like it. And I like driving 150 miles an hour in my Ferrari the other day following you. But that's not, you know what I mean? It's just a byproduct of it. And
yeah, we had a bit of a drag race, didn't we?
Dude, I was stressing because you smoked me off the line until I hit fourth gear.
That was like, fun, dude. That was a fun roll, dude. And then we ripped the canyon, and
I thought you were gonna toast me, man. I was concerned for a minute.
We had fun, man. Yeah, we hit a canyon. We went to a Cars and Coffee, and then we're like, hey, let's go run a canyon. I'm like, you got anything else going on? He's like, no, dude, I'm ready to rock. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we freaking ripped it in our cars. Dude, that was fun.
Well, dude, and how cool is that we've built the lifestyle through real estate, that we have the ability to experience cool shit like that?
Dude, I never thought I would. I mean, I always dreamt that I could or something, but I never. There's that thing inside of you, that guilt thing that says, I don't think that you ever could experience that. But, you know, putting my mind into it, you know, putting your mind into it and saying, dude, I'm going to make this shit happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes, you know, like what Grant Cardone says, wit, you know, whatever it takes to make this happen and to live my goals.
Yeah, dude.
It amazes me.
Making that commitment and you know, like the financial the financial.
Yeah, I know what you're not your mind, bro.
I'm trying over here. Got me thinking about the Chippendales days. But the dancing wasn't working out with the services.
Dude, my wife was, with no joke, wearing a Chippendale shirt today, by the way. That's probably what got it in my mind and reminded me of your days at Chippendale.
I thought it was because I was looking good, bro.
You are looking good, bro. I'm digging that shirt.
But no, dude. So, you think it's about the money, but really it's not about the money. It's about like the lifestyle and the options that the money is going to provide you, right?
Yeah, because that's
So
what
we have the
money equals freedom, right?
Yeah, dude. So we have the freedom to go rip our cool sports cars up the canyon on a Saturday and not have to stress about it or worry about it because,
Right.
I mean, it's just about the lifestyle piece and the experiences. So like that, I think that's what's cool.
What's been your greatest tool before we end up here? What's been your greatest tool in getting you there? Is it your mindset, your skills, your discipline? What has it been?
Oh man, there's two answers there. My greatest tool and what's got me to where I was at is my ability to build relationships with people and value them and always put relationships first.
So rapport building.
Yeah, no, I think rapport and relationships are different things. Like you could build rapport with anybody, like having a relationship and then showing up and putting that relationship first. Like, for example,
a little deeper.
For example, my hard money lender shorted himself 10 G's on a payoff a couple months ago, and no one knew about it but me. Like a month after the fact, I put the relationships and my integrity first, and I call him and say, "Hey, bro, you're missing 10 grand. I'm gonna send it to you."
Wow.
Like that's why I am where I am, because number one, I have relationships, and number two, like my core values, I do not waver from them.
Dude, I love it, dude.
And I hustle, bro. You gotta work.
You actually got to get the work done, right? The actual calls and the actual, Dude, anything else you would give before we end up here?
No, man. I really go do and be who you want to do and be, not what society thinks, not what you think it should look like. Go find happiness, whatever that looks like. And hopefully money and real estate is part of it.
And happiness looks different to everybody, right?
100%.
Dude, Michael Burns, bro. Thank you, brother. Thank you for taking your time, bro. That's been awesome. It's fun to hear your story a little bit and to hear kind of your journey. And I'm sure this is helpful for a lot of people. So I appreciate your time, man.
Cool, bro. Always an honor to be on.
Freaking stud. And hey, I'm here to freaking blow the doors off of your Ferrari with my car anytime. All right.
All right, bro.
All right.
We should go do that.
Hey,
right
thanks. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Yeah, with the car I'm driving today, that ain't gonna happen. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Thanks for watching and listening to Clozer Cult podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all those, and hit us up on the podcast